hi there. Welcome to another episode of Fake Nerds Watch, where we're talking about Lovecraft Country, episode 3, Holy Ghost. And man, it's really nice to just get to talk about a whole season premiere up to a mid-season finale in one episode. Exceptional.
There was like small movies. I feel like we're just watching small movies, and it's kind of nice.
They cover a lot of ground. I'm Sparkz Witty. This is Ryan Eliopoulos.
It's me. Hello.
And over there across the interwebs on my left is
cameras.
This is left, but that's left.
Yep. Stage left.
Yeah, Brandon McClure.
Hello. Hi there.
Excuse me. Sorry, Brandon T. McClure.
Thank you.
And we're diving into another episode of Lovecraft Country. Ryan and I are just fresh out of it.
Like super fresh. Like
so I have no comments from the official podcast this week because I didn't listen to it.
We're going hot and heavy this week.
I'll make notes for next week.
Yeah.
I watched it this morning, and by this morning I mean 3 o'clock when I woke up.
Wow.
I love it.
Oh, 3 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, why were you up at 3 a.m.?
Well, I was up at 3 a.m. because we recording this on.
You record
Monday.
late. Yeah.
We recorded so late on Sunday, so I was
Yeah.
up until 3 a.m. watching something. I don't remember what. 10 Things I Hate About You, and I was so high that I couldn't go back to sleep. So then we went to bed so late, and then I woke up so late. And
You were so high you couldn't go back to sleep.
I understand. It's okay. Speaking of high, hey guys, how high was this episode in terms of quality? It was very,
very high.
This show continues to excel, and I think now we have an idea of what the rest of the season is going to be.
Yeah, like basically like shorts. Like it's an anthology show, but it all directly connects into a feeding story.
Yes.
This week it was about ghosts.
The disparate stories are in fact part of a larger plot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were right. The girl is not dead.
Which girl?
The blonde.
Oh, Christine.
Oh, the blonde lady. Yes.
Is it Christine or Christina?
I think it's
I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
So
I don't know.
We speculated that she and her boyfriend would probably be alive, and we were right.
Oh yeah.
Her boyfriend?
I don't think they're William.
Boyfriend. William boyfriend.
What, really?
Yes, that's what she says in the second episode. Is her boyfriend.
Does she really?
We didn't even talk about that. I
dog.
definitely missed that.
Man, they look related. That's gross.
They're definitely not related.
Yeah. This episode's called Holy Ghost. That could mean many different things.
Christina.
It is Christina.
Christina.
Okay. I know a band called Holy Ghost. That's pretty dope, but I doubt that's what this episode's about. There are ghosts involved, and some holy atrocities as well, with some spooky scientist man. Real quick, just to verify before, I know this is later on, is the guy who comes out of the pages, is that scientist man?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. He says, "Get out of my house."
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So we move from Lovecraft monsters to supernatural paranormal activities, which is a change of pace for this show, but it's keeping with the genre, which is really cool.
Yeah, this show kind of switches gears and does a haunted house, a traditional haunted house movie, essentially, where Letty has bought a new house in a very white neighborhood.
With this money that she all of a sudden has now.
Yes, supposedly from her mother.
Yes.
There. Yeah, and she buys this really nice house that was once owned by some dude who did some horrible things.
Yeah, we slowly learn throughout the episode who it was, what he was doing. Oh my gosh, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Man, there's one ghost specifically that just like the first time you see it, I don't want to spoil it yet, but man, the proportions are wrong on it. Let's just say, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, we all were like, oh, this show's cool. This show's weird and cool.
The first moment you get of ghosts is Letty is asleep, and there are disembodied hands pulling her blanket away from her.
Yeah, right. And it's not subtle. It's just yo, this is a ghost hand. Like it's not like a movie where it takes 20 minutes to get to the ghost. Like, no, this is the ghost episode. Here's a ghost. I'm like, damn, they're just going for it. Like the first episode did. I'm like, that's awesome. And the ghosts are horrifying. They're super spooky. The practical effects are real good.
So shall we jump into our episode beat by beat?
Beat it up.
All right. We open in the church at George's funeral, which is focused heavily on Letty's reaction.
They're all celebrating, praising.
A lot of mixed tone between the music and the presentation and what's going on with Letty. Solid opening, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, what this show does a lot is the conflicting tones while things are happening. Like, it's a very joyous occasion, even though somebody passed away, like, you celebrate them, you don't mourn them, right? But she's going through some shit because they don't know what happened. The people around her don't know the Lovecraftian horror that these people went through.
Right.
And that's a bummer. Like, and then this whole episode, like, Journey Smollett is killing it. Like, if she gets an Emmy nomination next year, like, I won't be shocked.
This is 100%. This is 100% her episode. Whereas the first two are ticks, but also an ensemble. This is hers.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's probably going to be that way for a lot of the characters the rest of the season. Like, they'll get little spotlights and stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah. We after the opening, we get the text setup of what we're about to see.
Oh yeah, like it's like an unsolved mystery episode,
or the opening of Blair Witch. Where it tells us that they move up into a white neighborhood, and
like 10 days after.
And 10 days after, 3 people go missing.
Yeah. Yes. But we're not told who goes missing.
Just 3 people went missing.
Yeah. So
we are told that 5 people moved in and 3 people go missing.
Yes, you are led to believe a certain way that this will go.
Yes. And it goes a very different way, which is a lot of fun at the end.
Right. And then so we start on the day 1, and it's Letty moving into the home and telling Ruby,
her sister,
about how she wants her to be here, and she wants this to be a neighborhood where a neighborhood home, a safe place for colored people to come into a white neighborhood.
And she seems sincere with Ruby, and she's like, I know, we weren't great sisters in the past. Like this we can bond over this. Like this can be us moving forward. Right. And Ruby believes it, and
she has a lot of distrust about where the money comes from and everything, but she ultimately lets it slide.
Yes.
And she's pretty enthralled with the house too, until the elevator.
Yeah.
And then Ruby's less stoked but on board about the house.
But again, it just goes to show that like Ruby is constantly there for her sister. When after a while, just like when someone's mean to you so much, like when do you say no? But like that's what family does, right?
Letty sells this whole thing on a promise of this is me making up for everything you've done for me.
Yeah.
Which it's not entirely that, as we learn later.
This also goes back to what you were saying in the last 2 episodes, that she, she thinks this is okay. I mean, it should be okay, but like she thinks like there's not gonna be a problem.
Letty lives in a fantasy of what reality is about how white people will respond. Yeah. She believes her exact response when Ruby brings up that the white neighbors aren't going to like it is that there's strength in numbers. So if there's enough black people there, they will leave them alone.
Yeah,
that's what Letty thinks will happen. That's not the case.
Yeah, as we see in day 2.
And it also like further explores Letty's kind of obsession with wanting to be in that world and be accepted in that world and be okay to be there, because we saw it in the second episode when she gets accustomed to being waited on very quickly.
13 bedrooms. That's a house.
We've seen it in the way where she talks about in the first episode about getting a job that Ruby can't get because she's just confident she can get a white person's job.
And Ruby's talking in this episode how she has to like beef up her resume or something like that because like she has to
she's going to reapply. Hard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
where was it when we get back to Tick and Hippolyta and Dee?
That's coming up in just a sec. Okay. But this is an even further like it's nice that at the end we kind of get an explanation of who really pushed her to pick that house, but it still is a question of like Letty being overly confident about where she can go. This isn't me saying obviously that like, oh, she shouldn't be, she should stay where she belongs, but like Letty shows constantly an ignorance to the threat
or there's a disregard
for her in that world.
she's a strong lady, but,
and the threat to others too.
Yeah, but like in the situation she's in, like sometimes like you just can't, and that sucks, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what makes her such a dope, strong character. Is like, yeah, she'll get arrested. Who gives a
Right.
shit?
Like
Whatever.
I love that she wants to rebel against all these structural norms, but it also is like and Ruby has a reasonable point of like you put a lot of people at risk and put other things on the line.
It's not just
because you want to be here, but you put a whole lot of other people like us on the line for it.
Because anything that she does is going to affect all the other people around her. Yeah.
Correct. And we'll dig into that a little later too. We go to Hippolyta and Atticus at their home, which first opens up with Hippolyta sitting in front of the mirror and ripping up the book. Yeah.
Yo, man, she's going through some stuff.
Yeah.
Understandable. Her hubby died.
Well, it's really interesting watching her be so distrustful to Tick. She has really no reason to be, but she knows there's something wrong with the story they were told.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you get that when she's ripping the book up. She's just looking in the mirror, ripping the book, and processing that there's something not right about the situation.
She didn't rip up the book. She spilled coffee on it.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mistake. Mistakes were made.
Yeah, we go from that scene to Tick helping out in the kitchen with Dee. And we learn later that this day is 3 weeks after George's funeral.
Yes.
We learn that a little later. But so this is 3 weeks later, and Atticus has been around that house this whole time, not with Montrose. And he's been helping out, probably out of a lot of guilt, but also wanting to just be a good person.
Yeah.
And we don't get all the information about it, but we know Hippolyta is not loving Atticus's presence. Part of that is him sending the safe travel guide out without her having looked over it.
Yeah.
Part of that is the way he sets down his coffee cup, which comes up later. But there's a tension in the air that Atticus is picking up on.
Yeah.
And that ultimately says, I'm not going to stay here tonight to Dee, and goes and shows up at Montrose's place.
Hey, Pop. And he's drunk on the floor.
Yes. I mean, he is also struggling with the loss of his brother.
Yes. Yeah, everyone's
he was also already a drunk. We can assume, but still.
Sure. Yes, he
has a flask
heavily mentioned. I'm gonna just 1 second.
Our cat's at the door. Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to cover about Hippolyta, Brandon?
No, most of the stuff I want to cover about Hippolyta is in the later scene with her.
Right. Yeah. That sounds good. So yeah, he shows up at Montrose's place, and basically explains to him that he's worn out his welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to stay around for a while, and Montrose is kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever.
Well, because he's like, can I stay for a couple of days? And then Montrose doesn't even acknowledge him. He just goes and puts on a record. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So just disinterested, and which is even worse because he's like, I don't give a shit, son, whatever. I'm just like, and Tick is just like, oh, I just want to talk to you, but it's so hard.
I do really like how Tick approaches the scene where he wants to tell Hippolyta the truth.
Yes.
Because he feels that's what she's owed.
Right. Atticus has a sense of it doesn't feel right not telling the whole story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Montrose is like, why do you want to tell people that wizards are real? What are they going to... they're not equipped for that.
They're not going to believe you.
You want people to think magic is on the white person's side now?
Right. I think both points are valid to an extent. I think Atticus is right to want to tell the truth, but also that Montrose has a reasonable point that not only is it a hard pill to swallow, the truth, but also would create more fear of everything in the world, and they already have a lot to be afraid of.
Yeah.
And so is that really the right thing to do? And I do think that's a reasonable argument.
And that's something that I love so much about this show is that it does so well to just put the spotlight on the fear that Black people felt at this time. Just the constant, and you as the audience are watching this, and you yourself are in constant fear with your characters, and that's the mindset you're supposed to be in.
Except I think not. I think not entirely constant, but very pointedly, like when they are away from their safe spaces. Like, you know, when they're at Hippolyta's home, I consider that safe.
Yes.
You know, it's regarded that neighborhood is pretty much safe. That's their area. That's their domain. You can assume for the most part they're going to be okay. It's when they venture out of it that the tension and the fear comes back in.
And it's doing what we talked about in the first episode, where when they're not in their safe spaces, much like in a horror movie, when they're venturing into a place that you know the monster is going to be, you are tense. You are tense with them because there's something wrong.
Right.
What's interesting about this episode is like the safe space is inside the house, so when they go out is where the terror is. But also there's a ghost in their house, so there's terror on both fronts. But only Letty can see the ghost, I guess, or experience what's going on.
Yeah. But even then, like, that house does break that boundary of what we're talking about, like where they can feel safe.
Yeah.
Because she's pushing that house for this house that's out in new territory, out in the north side. Is it the north side? I think they say it's the north side.
I don't know.
Pretty sure it's the north side. Because they're from the south side.
Right. We jump from there to Letty completely diving into moving into the new house. This is day 3. And
all the movers and her.
And Atticus comes by to
check on her,
ostensibly say goodbye.
Yeah.
Because he says he's leaving and going back to Florida.
Yeah.
And he says, I really like the line he says where he's like, this was pretty smart moving in on a Sunday when they're all at church, so no one can stop you.
Yeah.
So Letty is so aware of how risky this is, but still doing it. But
it's because we find out later that she was kind of pushed towards this course.
Yes, we do learn that, but there's still like an amount where
she has to do it.
She makes the choice and she's willing to do that.
Yeah.
That is where we learned it was 3 weeks since George's funeral. And Letty offers Atticus a room, which he declines. Says he said he'd be away from his job for a couple days. He's been away for a month. We don't know what his job is.
Nope.
And then as that conversation is happening, we hear a loud honking, and they step out onto the porch, and there are 3 cars with white boys propped up around them, honking the horns.
With just like the most like...
with bricks tied to the steering wheels.
What's up? I'm racist.
Yeah.
God, the evil white man smirked. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
They might as well have been wearing swastikas.
Yes.
Man, racism sucks.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Many times during this episode, look, it is completely naive of me to say this, but I just don't understand how anybody could have so much hate in their heart to do things like
this. I mean, we can have a whole conversation on how that happens,
right.
But like, unfortunately, it's passed down from generations. Just ignorance and hate just gets passed down like genes almost.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. We're trying to make the world a better place, though. We're trying.
Yep. But I hear you. You kind of go. But that's the importance of this, is because it is. That's how it is.
That's how it is.
How it is in some places, and this is what's up.
Yeah.
And it's super gross.
And obviously, I like to think my inability to understand the motivations behind these people is because I don't have that much hatred in my heart. But I'm also not ignorant enough to think that this didn't happen. Obviously, this is real. This is what happened. This is continuing to happen.
Right. So at the honking, Atticus says, "You know what? Maybe I should stick around a bit."
I'll say a couple days, maybe.
Because he's concerned, obviously. Then we jump to day 5, 2 days later, the morning, and the honking is still continuing. And Ghost Hand.
Ghost Hand.
Yeah.
Followed by Ghost Face. Not
Yes.
from Saw, but a ghostly face.
Got some gross stuff coming out the face.
Yeah.
So Letty's sleeping and she has the windows closed because of the honking, and it's super hot.
Because they're also messing with the boiler.
Which
takes her to the basement.
Yes.
She doesn't see the ghost or anything in this scenario. She just gets startled awake, but then she goes down to the basement and fixes the boiler.
Mhm.
And then she hears sound coming from the basement in the basement.
Double basement.
And finds
The roof we saw.
a basement door jiggering up and down with voices. So she calls down Atticus, and they check it out, and they find nothing.
Yeah, in the Evil Dead downstairs. Yeah,
which is a creepy room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed the sequence because it's playing with a lot of horror movie tropes.
For sure.
And they're leaning into the idea that you're now watching a haunted house movie.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that.
It's ostensibly like the Poltergeist episode. Like they get like a median that like stuff goes crazy. It's fun. Yeah.
We move from there from day 5 and jump all the way to day 8.
Yes.
Where the honking continues, but there's a house party, so you can't hear it inside.
Yeah, they're all having a good.
They're having a raging old house party. Everybody's having a great time.
Atticus walks in. Everyone's singing. Yeah, Atticus walks in with his
military garb,
looking fresh.
Yeah. Hippolyta is there. Mm-hmm. She's bringing food.
Yeah.
Because
I really like the idea that he wore his military garb because he thought that would like calm the neighbors.
Yeah,
a little bit, like calm. They're like, oh, there's a veteran here.
Yeah,
right.
For the appearances of it, yeah.
Yeah, but then he takes that coat off, and then
he's
anyway. So Hippolyta is there because she's got so much food from everybody coming and bring condolences and amounts she can't eat, and while that's happening, she talks to Letty about being home without George, how Atticus. Is his presence gets to her. She specifically cites the coffee cup thing. Mm-hmm. It's apparently something George did as well. And so she asks if he's reminding her of George, and that's the problem. And she says, no, not really.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's something to that.
And then she continues to go on and enjoy the party. Meanwhile, Dee is downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Playing with a Ouija board.
Ouija time.
No, do not play with Ouija boards.
And the demons are already there, so it's just like a quick text away. The ghosts are there, yeah. So
I have a hard no Ouija board rule.
No snakes, no Ouijas.
This is right. Number 2, no Ouija boards.
And with the Ouija board, it's spelled out that George is dead, and Dee gets understandably upset about it.
Yeah,
I thought so. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
it went pretty fast.
George is dead. George goes slow, but then the is dead part goes pretty quick.
Right.
Dee has a upset about that, obviously. The music in this episode's fantastic. I made a note about it here because they're doing Ruby's live singing amongst other things. Mm-hmm. The music's great. The show continues to have fantastic music across the board.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic just overall soundtrack, especially when they're using things that aren't music, like in the beginning.
Yes.
And the funeral, the whatever that speech was that was playing over the music was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now is Letty. She's dancing real hot and heavy with a guy. And Atticus is watching.
Oh my gosh!
Getting his jellies going,
and like
super jellies.
And Letty notices, and she just gives him like the eyes while she's like getting pelvic thrusted by another man. She's just like, "This could have been you, Atticus." And I'm like, "Oh my god, it's so much. That's so much."
Yeah,
it's very flirty.
Yes.
Oh man.
This is all coupled with his conversation with Tree.
Mm-hmm. Oh God! I used to tussle with her in high school, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, she's yours. You better tell him." Yeah. And that leads to Letty heading to the restroom, where she sees a ghost. No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't see the ghost.
We see ghost in the mirror behind her.
Yeah.
So it's for a different kind of scene. And then Atticus comes in, and then they bang one out,
and then they go.
Yeah.
0 to 100 real quick.
When this was happening, I was like, "Man, she better be careful." Last time she did this with a snake in his pants.
Right.
I was like, snake pants.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So they have sex, and at the end of it, Atticus touches downstairs and realizes that there's blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Letty plays it off as though it's her period and she didn't realize, and he says it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're left in kind of this really weird,
kind of awkward
feeling moment.
Yeah.
Where
The revelation of why. The revelation of why was really nice.
Yeah. And then a little bit more of the party goes on, but not long after that, there is a burning cross on the lawn.
Yeah.
An old-fashioned cross burning.
And Letty has had it, so she grabs a bat while Atticus prepares the other guys to grab some guns.
Atticus like, yo, there's a shotgun in the closet. I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna get real.
And Letty,
this is my favorite moment. This is my favorite moment of the episode.
It's a really good one. Letty goes out, and it's probably my second favorite. Letty goes out and she bangs the crap out of these cars to kick-ass music. And she's doing it in a dress, and she looks great.
Yeah.
Way to go, Journey Smollett.
She's banging out the
bricks.
Those bricks tied
so that they can't honk anymore.
Yeah.
While the guys with the shotguns.
Yes. And then her sister, or Hippolyta, I wasn't
It's
sure.
Hippolyta.
Ruby.
Okay.
Oh, it's Hippolyta. Okay.
Yeah. Hippolyta drives up with the car, and they stash the guns into the trunk before the cops arrive.
And then they very smartly just get down on the ground,
Right.
like we know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Like, let's not make this harder than it has to be.
But we go to only Letty in the police car.
Yes.
Being questioned by the cop about why she bought the house, how she bought the house in a rude, racist way, which is unsurprising. I also want to spotlight when the guys are honking the cars earlier. We have white cops go by, and they just glance at it and smirk and are
it's the same guy who's in the SWAT car with her.
Yeah, because then we get to this, and it's we didn't get any complaints because like your neighbors have been complaining about you a lot, and she's like, did you get the 21 complaints I filed about them?
Nope.
Doesn't ring a bell of those.
But yeah, he's like, what do you know about that house? The
Winthrop
house, and she's like, I don't know. And then he starts like tearing her up, like the car's getting banged around, and she can't do anything about it. She's getting hurt. He's like, well, you really don't know anything about that house. Yo, we found some dead people in the basement.
Dead black people.
Dead black people. Like that's probably gonna happen to you. You better be careful, girl.
Yeah. Eight black bodies.
Yes.
Before we get too far, I want to spotlight what I just said was my favorite moment of the episode. When she bangs when she's banging the cars and she takes out the bricks. One of the reasons why I really like that episode, that sequence is of just how like smooth everyone was on the same page. They're just like, okay, we got our shotguns. She's destroying our cars. We're gonna protect her. All right, shotguns in the trunk. Go.
Yeah.
We hear the police. Nothing happened.
I just really like that moment for how just like on it they all are.
Yeah. They know how to do the game.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. So she gets that information from that, and we go into day 9, and Letty is in the blacklight basement messing with pictures. And she realizes that there's some kind of connecting imagery on the pictures.
Well, she turns a regular light on, and she notices something, and then she turns like the black light on, and now all the pictures have some types of lines on all of them.
Yeah.
These like white streaks across the pictures.
Yeah.
And as she's pulling it together, there's a really, really good classic horror sounding score piece going on. It sounds like something composed in the early 30s. Really good. And it forms a face that emerges up out of the pictures and tells her to leave.
Get out of my house!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And blows her back.
Yeah.
Yes, blows her back, freaks her out. And so she's focused on this and in a panic upstairs as Ruby is telling her little stunt with the bat has forced all of the tenants to leave.
Yeah.
Because she's put them at risk. And now they're not going to have money to afford the installation payments. And Letty says, it's fine. I still have money from mom left over. And Ruby goes, I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me? Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. The mom's I missed her funeral, but she still gave me a lot of money. But she didn't give you guys money.
Our mom
mom didn't have any money. Yeah.
Mom who didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Right. And Letty gives her explanation of everything, and Ruby, in a really good, heartbreaking scene, comes back at, right, but I mean, like, you're worse than Mom, because Mom at least knew she was selfish, and she wore it, and you don't.
Yeah.
And after I've done everything, given you money for years, you couldn't bring that and split it with Marvin and I. You knew that would be right, and you didn't do it. No, you looked out for you first.
Yeah.
And that hits pretty good.
Yeah. Letty absolutely is in the wrong. She might be a good person, but she's not always a great person. It's unfortunate. I'm sure there'll be some more character growth throughout the season, but like, man, she's very selfish. She's a very selfish lady.
Yeah.
But she's the thing is, like, through this experience, that she'll grow, and I'm sure there'll be some resolution to her and Ruby's story.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be, but it's a solid point and good background description on them and their life with their mom.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Montrose goes to help out Hippolyta.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime that they're there, she challenges him about what they said happened to George.
Mm-hmm.
And Hippolyta does not believe their story.
She just like has a feeling. Like it's like
she specifically has a line where she says, "I saw the bullet."
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sure you guys did what you had to do. I don't want to know about that part, but something doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
As though how and where George was shot without any of them being shot says something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know exactly what that would say, but I really like that moment that she has with Montrose, because Montrose is playing it off like, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want to know. But she's saying, I know there's something you're not telling me. I know there's something more going on here.
With an interesting horror music beat behind her when she does
again, playing with the tone. Because normally you'd see this kind of scene with a somber, kind of sad music, but it's specifically the same kind of horror haunted house synths we've been hearing throughout the episode. To put the audience on edge. Like, she's not, almost like she's now the not the bad guy, but now she's the antagonist of the scene.
I also feel that way. Like I don't know if they're gonna build her up in like a way, because like she's not tied to any of this like Lovecraft stuff as far as we know. But like maybe like she doesn't believe the baloney. She investigates herself and something bad happens, or I don't know. But it doesn't feel like this is just going to end with her going, "Oh, I believe you now."
Something is speaking to her on some level.
Yeah,
in some way.
Like she just knows on a fundamental level. Like, no, this is a lie. I just know this is a lie.
Yeah.
Perhaps something literally is speaking with her.
Could be. Erstwhile, Letty is figuring out about the 8 missing black bodies that are related to a scientist.
Is it when she's at the bar with all
when she's at all
she's got her cork board with the lines,
and Atticus comes in and she explains the whole breakdown to him about the relationship between the cop that was talking to her and a scientist named Epstein, who it would appear was being given abducted black people to run experiments on.
Yes, and he has some type of connection. Did we find that stuff out later, right? Or did we find out
all the pictures that we've seen are of those abducted black people.
Yeah. So she calls the house Winthrop, and that makes Atticus make a face, but we don't learn about that till the end of the episode.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like we learned that Epstein. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. He's somehow connected to like the Sons of Adam and stuff. So that's what I mean.
That's later in the episode.
Okay, that is later. Okay, sorry.
That's when we learned the Winthrop stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
She has these pictures from when they first moved in that have been hanging up on the walls, and they all have different faces on them. Kind of like she caught new faces in these pictures, and she matches them to the 8 missing black people from the house.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. They have. She was taking photos earlier in the episode, and now all these people have mixed warped face stuff going on, which is
like double faces.
Yeah. In the midst of this, after that conversation about what they need to do, what they're figuring out about this, Letty tells Atticus that the night before was her first time.
Yes. And Atticus immediately like feels bad about it because he kind of just like left.
And Letty explains that she doesn't regret it, but that she needed it because she needed to feel something. Letty has been feeling kind of like a ghost after her resurrection.
Oh,
I love it. She remembers that she died.
Right.
And she feels like there's something missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she herself is a ghost. And that's why she's connected to the ghost in the house.
Right. And so she's trying to fight that fear. And diving into this to solve these ghost woes with that. So so that goes to them bringing over a witch doctor lady who slits a goat's throat on the porch. The white neighbors just being like, well, if they weren't pissed off before, they're definitely pissed off now. And they're trying to cleanse the spirits out. So they put the blood X's on them to protect them. And I got to say, I really like that they've established that like magic like this is also like legit in the world where Lovecraft stuff is also legit.
Yes, like it all exists.
Because the black X's do something because the water pipes have to break later to wash them away for anything else to happen. So while they go downstairs into the blacklight room trying to do this, 3 white boys break in with bats.
Yes, and I immediately go, oh, 3 white boys?
Oh, the 3 bodies missing. Yeah, exactly.
I know who's dying now.
Yeah. So these 3 white boys going missing. And they do indeed because they come face to face with the babyface basketball player.
No,
and when
thank
I say
you.
the babyface basketball player, I mean the baby-headed basketball player on an adult basketball man's body.
That was horrifying. But also, there was a part where like he opened his eyes and like surprise, like happiness, like a baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's even worse. Oh,
yeah. He's crying, and then all of a sudden he's just happy, surprised, and it's like more horrifying.
Yeah. Demonic
the elevator decapitates one of them.
Yes.
So cool. I think that's a really cool death.
Don't be racist, and this wouldn't happen.
Yes,
but you were, and you got a bad night
on that elevator death. We got like an extended like 10 seconds of just the blood,
the neck, the neck,
and it's like, wow, they're just.
Well, what's so interesting about that sequence is if you watch the background, and it's extended on the face, but the elevator comes back down slowly.
The elevator comes back down, and there's someone inside. Yeah,
there's someone inside.
Yeah.
That's super scary.
But the practical effects on that were very, very good.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They have the pictures swarming around them, and then
did we say they start performing like a seance type thing?
Because they're chanting while that stuff is happening upstairs. They're chanting, and then it calms down, and all of a sudden the water pipe breaks, and water washes off their protections.
Oh no!
And they're trying to get out, but they can't. And the witch doctor gets possessed and grabs Atticus around the throat. And ultimately ends up possessing Atticus as she drops to the ground.
First of all, Letty is just watching this happen and just like yelling help. Like she's not doing anything. And I'm like, Letty, are you gonna try to help at all? Like I understand you're scared, but like you'll go beat up some white boy's cars, but you won't save the man who just took your virginity. Like I thought that was an interesting character choice.
White boys and ghosts aren't exactly on the same level of terrifying.
No, man. For all we know, like Tit could die at that very second. Like it's again a choice of her. Like she's strong, but like she doesn't want to fight a ghost. I'm like, man, that could have been him dying right there. We don't know. Mm-hmm. And then it's worse because Tit gets possessed. Yeah.
I'm interested to listen to the radio podcast about it. That moment, but I would say that Letty was pretty enraptured with her fear. Yeah. Because what I made a note of is I think Journey Smollett does a great job of she's standing there paralyzed, but she's making a sound, but it's not a scream once Atticus is possessed and coming at her. That's just, it's not even that. It's like this, her lips are shut. It's like she's frozen shut, but she's making a sound like she's trying to scream because she knows he's coming for her. Yeah. And she does that sound twice, and it's really, really frightening to see how afraid she is. Yeah. And then we see him getting the double face thing with the scientist Epstein's face coming out of Atticus, saying, "Get out of my house, you bitch." And as he's approaching her, she tells the spirits that they can fight against the doctor, the scientist, because they are not dead yet. They can still fight him.
Mhm.
And so their spirits emerge from the corners of the room and come after and surround him and join Letty.
And you see all the experiments that have happened, and
the music is so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
As and they start all
with,
chanting. They start all chanting in the language that the witch doctor was using, and as they're chanting, their spirits are healing.
Their spirits are being repaired to their proper forms as Epstein's spirit is separated from Atticus and starting to deteriorate.
And he looks
as he's in the center.
And he's like turning into like gross sand. That's a good moment.
That was my favorite moment of the episode. Was the spirits coming together around her with that music, and then their bodies healing. I was like, this is incredible. I love this.
I was kind of expecting like the baby head to like morph into the regular guy's head, but I just turned the camera so he was just regular head. I'm like, all right, I understand. So you got to save the body a little bit. I was like, because like everyone was slowly healing up. Just expecting a little baby head to grow like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that was really cool. Really love that scene. And so they get rid of Epstein's spirit. He's gone.
Letty
just
returns the get the F out of my house.
Yes.
In a fiery, passionate yell that leaves you crying.
And then there's just her standing in the room alone, and Journey Smollett rocked the hell out of that scene.
Just standing there shocked.
Yeah. So we go on to later, and Letty is with a journalist, and she's being interviewed about making this house a home to help the community. And this is actually what she was saying at the beginning of the episode. It's going to actually be that a home for a lot of colored people to
it's actually my sister's idea.
Feel safe, and she credits that her sister is the inspiration.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she gets asked, do you happen to know anything about your three neighbors who went missing? And she's like, three neighbors went missing? I don't know anything about it. And we stay in the elevator as the elevator takes us down, way down.
Half where we've seen.
Down far. To underground where their bodies are, along with the skeletons of the victims.
Of the other 8.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Elsewhere.
Atticus time.
Atticus
meanwhile
finds Christina in town
at a closed bank.
Yes,
the bank is closed, but she walks right in like she owns the place.
No, it wasn't a bank. It was the realtor guy.
Oh yeah. Jameson, JJ.
Yeah, it's his his realtor place, but barren.
That's right.
And he's packing up.
And Atticus has put together that Letty's supposed inheritance from her mother was Christina, and the impetus to buy the house was also Christina.
Yes.
And she's like, well, if you figured all that out, what are you here to talk about? And he's like, I'm not here to talk. I'm here to kill you, to tell you to stay away from my family. But he can't pull the trigger. Because Christina's got magic.
She's a wizard.
And it's at this point where she explains that most lodge members were only good at or only proficient at focusing on a single spell, and that alone was enough of an achievement for a lifetime.
She said specifically creating their own spell.
So her father focused only on invulnerability.
Yes.
He dropped when he did the ritual
he took that part,
open the portal
part out of himself,
which now implies Christina actively made sure her father was murdered. Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, Christina's the one that put the ring on Atticus's finger that is supposedly the part that summoned his ancestor, which brought the mansion down.
She's in
and we know Christina and William weren't in the house. So we know William wasn't in the house because William's in the next episode preview. So both of them got out of the house. And her implication that the only time his invulnerability would be lowered was for the ritual kind of implies that she wanted him to die.
Yes.
In that way.
Which her and William are definitely behind the scenes,
which
pulling the strings.
Which also supports what I was hypothesizing before, which is that Christina and William know much better about the language of Adam than any of the lodge members did. Are probably more proficient at more than just a single spell, as it would appear, because we know that she's at least got 2, because she's got stopping him from pulling the gun trigger and memory loss. So there's at least 2.
Now, does the in the first episode where the car does like the thing, is that a third magic or
that's probably a third magic.
There you go.
So Christina's definitely more powerful than most of the lodge members were.
I'm curious
because she knows better.
Yeah.
So we're also told that the Winthrop house was owned by Epstein, and he was once a lodge member, and he was banished because of his experiments.
Because he experiments, and it's too gross.
Yes, we learn all of that connection.
But he took pages from the Book of Names.
I think it said, didn't it say like one page or something? Like we can do all this with one page. Imagine if we had the whole thing. Which is like the setup.
But there are other pages that are missing.
Yeah, yes, which is the setup for the next episode.
And her whole thing is, imagine if we could find all those pages and the language of Adam could finally be decoded in its entirety. Which again just tells me Christina's certainly seen more of these pages than her father ever did, and certainly understood them better.
Do you think she could be part of like another organization, or is she just like working on her own against her dad?
I don't think she's part of an organization. I think she is her and William.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever her motivations are, I do think she's working alone. With William, but
yes. I don't think she has an organization. I think she thinks organizations that are dumb because this whole one around the lodge members has existed and, in her opinion, got everything wrong for years. So she's like, okay, so organizations are stupid and useless. Mob mentality is bad.
So why did she want her to have the house? Because we'll find out, right?
No, because Epstein's page is still in the house.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And so she wants Tick to find it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And then there's like an Indiana Jones level next episode where they find the rest of them.
So that's why. So she's playing the long game to try to find all the pages. And now Tick is in on it to help her find the pages. And that's what I mean. Like now we kind of have the idea of what the rest of the series is about: putting the Book of Names together.
Right. But this isn't necessarily something that Atticus wants. This is something that she's saying you should want because it's your birthright, and you're kind of the only other person I care about to let in on this because of that. But Christine is also like, you need to be smarter if we're going to do this, Atticus. You can't just go killing white women.
Yeah. And like she has like this hold over him, so he's just stuck in this position, like sweating, while she's slowly opening the blinds, telling him all this stuff. And I'm like, man, she's just got it under control. Like she's like the Joker. She's like 3 steps ahead of everyone. I'm very curious to see what is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? I don't know.
You said that character is a guy in the book?
Yes.
I'm happy they changed the gender.
Yeah.
I think it's I don't know if it works better or worse because I haven't read the book, but I think it's nice for the series.
I think they could change it because it honestly it didn't matter to the story.
Yeah,
like what.
But
gender.
also, it's kind of cool to see this girl be like the main big bad.
Yeah.
And being so like intelligent and ahead of everyone.
Call her the big bad. Like I don't even know if that's the right term for her yet, but certainly
I wonder if this I don't think this season might even have like a big bad because I would assumed it was the guy from the second episode, but he's gone. It's just like, like antagonist per episode that just leads into something.
It's Jamie Chung. The big bad is Jamie Chung.
Yes.
Jamie we'll find out. So we got a little bit of a next episode preview.
A little bit.
Montrose is going on some kind of adventure.
Yo, man, I'm telling you, it's like they're walking across planks and shit. It's like it's Indiana Jones. They're going for the Holy Grail, the Book of Names.
Oh, man, I'm so excited for the next episode.
Yeah. Again, like it looks like a completely different episode than the last one and the one before that. It's really cool. And again, like I stopped reading that book, so like I'm very curious to see like if every episode or every 2 episodes is just like a brand new type of thing.
I love the idea that we could be seeing these like monsters of the abyss and when they're walking over the planks and things. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Again, the show is still great. If you're watching this right now, you probably like it too. I wouldn't assume you're watching episode 3 of this. If you did,
right.
Yeah,
feels great. Thank you, HBO. Appreciate you. Great.
Yeah, I really, really liked this episode. I thought it was really good.
It's like a nice little bottle episode. Is that the right term for a bottle episode? No,
sort of.
It's close. It's close, but it's not quite.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
That would be it.
That'll do her for this episode.
Thank you for watching this. Make sure to like this video. Subscribe to this channel. There's a bunch of cool stuff on this channel, such as our Fake Nerds Watch series, which you are watching currently. We have other shows for Umbrella Academy Season 2. That's up now. The Boys is coming. We don't know what we're doing with that one yet, but we'll see.
It's a coming.
We're doing something. We're just not sure what.
Yeah, but watch our Boys season 1 recap. We did that.
Raised by Wolves is going to come out, and Ryan and I will probably have to talk about if we decide we want to talk about that at all. Whether that's just a season
I don't know
discussion.
if I have time, but that show looks so sick.
You and I might end up with a season wrap up about that. We'll see.
Maybe, yeah. That show looks sick.
Yeah.
We're pretty pumped about it.
Okay, and we also have our Basement Arcade series, which is also on this channel, where we just put out the Avengers beta. Got the single player and the multiplayer. That game's coming out soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
This week.
I'm getting Superman Man of Tomorrow. Hey.
Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm getting it tomorrow.
Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Good.
Looking forward to finally watching that.
4K?
Anyway. No, I don't have a 4K TV.
I'm just kidding. I just want to say 4K.
It's worthless to me. Anyway. Also, they're way too expensive.
Isn't it a 4K release anyway? Don't you have 4K when you bought it?
What?
I thought the only release for it was 4K and Blu-ray. I didn't see a non-4K release.
No, it's Blu-ray DVD.
Oh, okay.
DVD. I love $19.99.
I still get the Blu-ray DVD combo pack, man. They're only like $20.
No, I get it.
Anyway, you can check out all those shows, such as our Fake Nerd Book Club as well, which we are doing Power Rangers. New episode of Power Rangers probably up by the time you're watching this. I would imagine, right, Sparkz?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So check out those. We got 2 episodes of Power Rangers right now. Volume 1 and then Volume 2 and 3 in the second episode. So Volume 3 and 4 in the next... 4 and 5 in the next one.
4 and 5.
Yeah. Okay, so that'll do it. Make sure to, like I said, like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow us on FakeNerdPodcast.com, www.FakeNerdPodcast.com. Wait, follow us on social media, Fake Nerd Podcast. I got confused. Follow us, BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ryan, where can I find you?
You can find me at DJ Tony Snark everywhere. What about you, Sparkles?
You can find me studying the language of Adam at Sparkz Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
All right, that'll do it for us. Check out our other show, the Fake Nerd Podcast. It's our main show. It's our primary show. We just put up Bill and Ted. Spoiler alert, it's great. All right, and next week, Mulan.
Oh, it's happening. Wow.
Yeah. All right, guys, until then, till the next Fake Nerds Watch, till the next whatever video you're watching with us.
Get the hell out of my house.
Get the hell out of my house.